Hi, this is Stan. Welcome to the program. It's a Thursday, and the program title for today was to be on the most expensive mistakes that a leader can make. We were going to talk about some great mistakes. But then the news interrupted, and right now, one of the most famous comedian, performers, entertainers in America for many, many years, a gentleman named Bill Cosby, here at the age of 80, in his 80s, has been convicted of serious, terrible crimes, of sexual abuse, assault, and rape. And now, his life of great accomplishment and great achievement is all going down. It's all being lost. What a terrible and awful mistake. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about some mistakes that we all make, and perhaps as a business leader, the mistake you need not make, and you can do it better, and we can help you. That's what today is all about. This is Radio on the Edge, and this is the Jesus Entrepreneur, and it starts right now. Yes, indeed, a part of our human condition. Making mistakes. We all do that. One person once said to me, well, I don't think I've made too many mistakes. Well, I know the reason for that is because they haven't done too many things. Well, if you don't do much, you can't make mistakes. And that could be part of the smile that we put on about a person who thinks that they don't make too many mistakes. We all make a number of mistakes. And by the way, entrepreneurs usually make big mistakes, and they make a lot of mistakes. And that's why they're successful, because they make a lot of mistakes, and they keep trying. When most people give up, the entrepreneur presses up, pushes up. They get back up. And all of you have stories of doing that. We sometimes call that the Jonah factor, when you get thrown out. When you land up in the belly of the beast, when you all of a sudden find yourself face down in the sand, looking up, and you say, now what do I do? Do you get up and do the work you have to do? Well, today the story continues, particularly here in the United States, but it's spreading throughout the world, where significant celebrity people, both in the entertainment industry, in the sports, in business and commerce, particularly in politics, the idea that these people have been bad. I mean, not made some mistakes. They were bad. They did some bad and terrible things, particularly in the area of how they treated other people, particularly how they treated women, in the sexual harassment and sexual abuse, which is now, it seems, almost endemic and epidemic in our world today. And that's why we as Christians have to make sure we are the salt and light, the preserver, the people who help to turn that darkness in our present culture and turn it around. Bill Cosby, I have admired him for years. As a performer, as an entertainer, I mean, he was the guy. He was funny, he was engaging, he was well educated, and of course he was extremely successful and extremely well known. And now we find out that here he is, and he has been convicted in his 80s of a life of doing some very, very bad things, and he could literally spend the rest of his long life, which will now be shortened because he may be in jail for the rest of it. You know, as my wife and I say when we hear these things, and you all say them too, what were they thinking? Did they think they could get away with that? What were they up to? Why would they be so silly? I mean, we can understand people being sinful and lustful and having bad thoughts and some bad ideas, but didn't being smart have something in them that they would say, I can't do that. Even if I know it's wrong, it just wouldn't be smart to do that. That could get me in trouble. That could ruin my career. That could be hurtful to me and my family. Didn't they think about that? As my wife said to me after the verdict about Bill Cosby came down, she shook her head and said, "Can you imagine how his wife feels?" His wife of all these years, can you just imagine how he feels? And I know that one of the things that would be most killing to me would be to know that I had in some major way disappointed and hurt my wife Karen. And I've already done a number of things which I regret. Never hurt her, never hit her, but there are things that I wish I would have done better. But again, we ask the question, what were they thinking? And I'd love to hear from you. What do you think is behind some of this? And how can we begin to do it better? How can we make life work better? Well, as I said, that's just kind of an aside, the first 5 minutes here, because what I really was struck by, the Gallup organization, which is very much involved in polling and trying to figure out what's going on in the world. Now, that's important. As I oftentimes say, if you're an entrepreneur, you need a source for finding out what's going on. I oftentimes have said that every entrepreneur needs a Bugs Bunny in their life. And what I mean by that is you need somebody who's always asking, what's up? What's going on here? What's up, Doc? What's going on? Somebody says, why are we doing that? What's up? And it's good for you to have somebody in your life, in your team, on your maybe at least friendship, if not literally on the payroll, whose part of their job description is to be the rabbit. They're always looking around and saying, why are we doing that? What's up? What's going on here? How can we do it better? Now, they're not to be a sneak or a person who's griping and complaining all the time, but simply asking, what's going on here? And I would encourage you to think about that kind of role in your life and in your business. But here we're about trying to figure out, how do you avoid mistakes? How do you not make bad mistakes? And Gallup is trying to figure out what's going on here so that we'll make less mistakes. And they're starting to print out a number of very helpful things for people, particularly in business, based on their research and their polling, to say, this is what's going on, and we better make a change. And here's what Gallup has found out recently. Those performance, you've done them. You've had them done to you. Those performance reviews. Someone is called in. It's time for your performance review. And you go through that. It's kind of scary. Hopefully it'll go well, and hopefully you won't get fired, and hopefully you'll get a raise, and they'll say, way to go. Here's what they have discovered. This lifelong, it seems, but it's been around as long as most of our lives, performance review is not working. It's not very effective. It's not very helpful. And then why should we continue to do it? Because the results of it seem to be poor. And Gallup said the most expensive mistake leaders can make, and it is to continue to work with our employees and our colleagues, and in some cases our customers, the way we are doing. Well, what do you think of that so far? Hey, here's a question for you. What are some of the most expensive mistakes you've made? Just think about that. I went through that exercise. I've made some bad mistakes. Hopefully, I haven't made some fatal mistakes. Hopefully, my mistakes have not been terribly hurtful to others, though they've been hurtful to me. But I went through, and in the old game of golf, I would have liked to have had a do-over on that. In fact, I just recently had a wish for a do-over. Made a mistake. Didn't see it coming. Didn't know it was going to happen, but it did. It was a mistake. And now I can look back and I can see that perhaps if I'd have been a little more aware and a little more observant, I might have seen it coming. But again, you make a choice, you make a decision, and many times you make a mistake. Jesus chose Judas. Was that a mistake? Why do you think he chose him? It seems he probably knew what he was going to do. Why did he choose him? It would seem that that was a hiring mistake. That'd be fun to talk about. It'd be fun to ask Jesus that question. Hey, Jesus, tell us about Judas. That seemed to be a mistake. What was going on? I think I have an answer for you, and maybe I'll do a program on that someday. But simply, can I ask you right now, think about some of the mistakes you've made. By the way, did God's amazing grace help you to redeem some of those mistakes? One of my mentors has said, God delights in taking your bad mistakes and in making them something better than even a good choice would have been. God loves in turning mistakes into messages and missions of amazing grace. God delights in taking our mistakes, in turning them into messages and missions of delight. I'd like you to think about that. Hey, we just got a few more minutes to go. I'm going to tell you what that big mistake is that Gallup found out about performance reviews and what you can do about it. Hey, you are listening to Radio on the Edge. This is the Jesus Entrepreneur. I'm Stan Houston. We'll be right back. Here we go. Well, have you thought about that? My mistakes. And is God going to redeem some of them? I sure hope so. You know, He's done it a number of times for me before. And sometimes, as someone said to me one time, God can heal, but He may leave a few scars. God can heal, but He may leave a few scars. And even the resurrected body of Jesus, of course, bore the scars. Maybe that's a reminder of something. Hey, here we go. What they found in Gallup. And by the way, I would ask you to check this out. It is in the Gallup Business Journal. Just check that out. The Gallup Business Journal. And you can Google it or Bing it or whatever else you do to find it. The most expensive mistake leaders can make. The most expensive mistake leaders can make. Here's what it said. The story highlights. Current performance review processes often hurt organizations. Today's top talent does not want a boss. They want a coach. Managers should establish expectations, coach, and create accountability. Now, they got the last word wrong, and I'll talk about that some other time. But let me say that again. Your current performance review will probably hurt your organization. Top talent does not want a boss, they want a coach. Managers should establish expectations and coach and create accountability. Let me tell you a little bit of something that might be helpful to you. It was kind of a fun thing that I asked people to do when I was doing a lot more coaching. I would say, here's the problem. Oftentimes, you don't know what your boss really wants. So how can you do that? I mean, it may not be clear to you. The job description seldom, if ever, is complete. Or it's so much of everything, you don't know what is important. And kind of in a fun way, I encourage people in this way to go to their boss and say, why are you paying me? Like someone said, the boss might turn to you and say, I've wondered that myself. Okay, but here's the point. I would love to say, The reason I'm asking this, my friend, is, you know, I'm not cheap. I cost you. I cost you money. And it would really help me if I knew really what it is you value, what you want the most from me. How can I be the best employee around? How can I be the person who really helps you the most? What would you love for me to be, to do, to accomplish, achieve? I've got lots of things that are in my, portfolio, but what really is the primary thing you'd like me to achieve that will give you the greatest profitability for your business and the less hassle and less problems in your business? Why are you paying me? It's a good question for you to ask, and it's a good question for your boss to have asked of him or her. And then you sit down and say, in the next 6 months, what should I be doing to achieve the things you want to have done in the next 6 months? What would that be? And can you help me? Can you help me, coach me? Because you're the leader. Can you coach me on how we can do that? Now, one of the things I teach as a business performance coach is what I call to be the leadership coach. Stop being a boss and start learning the art of coaching. You see, most people have learned the art of managing and bossing, and coaching is a whole different skill. And you have to learn how to be a business performance coach. And we have some teaching and coaching on that. And if you'd like to be a leadership coach, a business coach, if you'd like to know how to do that in your company, in your organization, we can help you. That's what we're here to do, particularly for you Christian entrepreneurs. You can reach me. I'm Stan, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We're one of the leaders. We do the program. We can come into your place. We can even do a 20 to 30-minute video for you that you can play and show to your colleagues and to your employees. We'll be glad to do that, either online or in person. So reach out to me at radioedge77@gmail.com, radioedge77@gmail.com. That's the deal. What we're going to have to do is to take seriously that our performance review is generally a negative experience and it leads to depression. We have to turn it into an expression of positive aspirations and expectations. It has to be not a deficit guide, it has to be an achievement path. And perhaps that might be something that we all need to learn about and be more like Jesus. Jesus did not spend a lot of time telling people what was wrong with them. He told the religious Pharisees and the religious hotshots and the political big shots what was wrong with them, but the people who cared, the people he was ministering to, he was teaching them what they could be and what the kingdom of God could be for them and how life could make them fully alive, that they could have joy that they never thought possible. They could have what is really real and what is really true and what will please God and give life to themselves. Be fully alive. That's the goal. And anything that you do that doesn't help us get that way might be a big mistake, a little mistake, but it will be an expensive mistake. I'm Stan Hustad. Just some closing thoughts, and we'll be right back. Thank you for your time. We'll see where it goes. We'll be back on the weekend. But right now, I don't even know what it's going to be about because the world hasn't gotten there yet. By that time, something I hope the Holy Spirit will bring to me, and you can ask a question of me. Once again, I'd love to hear your questions. RadioEdge77@gmail.com. RadioEdge77@gmail.com. We all make mistakes, but let's try not to make any more of the most expensive mistake leaders can make. And you can also email me, and I can give you the link to that very fine article by the Gallup organization. They're doing some great work these days. Really appreciate them. I know somebody in the organization, and I'll have to thank them and remind them of their good work. A great performance review for them. All the best and blessings to you, and even for people like Bill Cosby, who is going through one of the worst days of his entire life. We'll pray for him and for his family, and that eventually his soul will be well, as I wish it'll be well for all of us. All the best and blessings. Take care. Bye for now.